Sometimes you need your meetings to create new ideas and innovate and be creative. So in this video, I want to suggest some ideas and some tools to help you to facilitate a creative meeting. Tool number one is the old favourite with everyone except me. I don't like it. It's overused and it's not effective in many circumstances, but most people have heard of it. It's brainstorming. Why don't I like brainstorming? Because when everyone is throwing ideas at a board, the person who is facilitating has to be selective in the sense that they can't write fast enough to grab them all. And that means the loudest, shoutiest people get their ideas on the board and they start to frame all of the ideas. The quieter, sometimes more thoughtful people don't necessarily put their ideas up and they get missed. And as the group gets bigger and bigger, it becomes harder and harder to overcome those shortcomings. So brainstorming can work well with a very small group, a very confined question, but it can fail badly. Far better as the group gets larger is a technique called brainwriting. Now in this technique you can do genuine parallel processing. Everyone can contribute at the same time. The quieter people can be just as confident in contributing as the noisier, shoutier people, and it gives you the bonus of being able to develop the ideas more effectively as well. So what is brainwriting? In brainwriting, we give everyone a pile of index cards and we ask them to write their own ideas on their cards, one idea per card. Now everyone can be writing at the same time and they're not influenced by other people's ideas. They can pursue ideas in their own directions. Very quickly you'll acquire a pile of cards with lots of ideas. What you can do next is to shuffle those cards, hand them back out and ask people to read the cards they've got and contribute their thoughts about those ideas. They can develop those ideas in a different direction, spin off into new ideas, or perhaps put a suggestion about how to implement those ideas, or a critique of the idea, if appropriate. Brainwriting is my favourite approach to idea generation and creative thinking with a group in a meeting. And the great thing is it can work with huge meetings. If you're facilitating a meeting with hundreds of people on tables, then when each table has finished their first round, you can move the pile to another table and swap them around as well. Very quickly, you've got a huge number of ideas and those ideas are developed. Next is the idea of frameworks or checklists. You've probably come across many of them before. For example, if you want to find sources of change, then perhaps the PESTLE framework is the right one. Ask people to think of sources of political change, sources of economic change, sources of social change, of technological change, of legal or regulatory change, of environmental change. Other frameworks include things like SWOT and the 5 W's and 1 H of why, what, where, when, who, and how. If before the meeting you think of the right framework that might contain many of the ideas, you can then use that to facilitate a conversation and come up with lots of creative ideas. Next is a halfway house between brainstorming, where everyone throws ideas up and one person writes them all down, and brainwriting, where we all write our ideas down and put them in the middle. This is sometimes called clustering. The technical name is affinity diagrams. The idea is that everyone writes their ideas on a sticky note and then puts them onto a wall or a board and puts their idea closer to ideas that are like them, so that you get clusters of ideas. So you're starting to sort the idea out and you can start to make connections. If you put them onto a board, you can even draw lines that connect related groups or clusters of ideas. If brainwriting is my favourite approach, my second favourite is Edward de Bono's framework of 6 thinking hats. And the idea here is to take people through stages in thinking about the creative idea. And there are 6 different hats that we can wear, and you can frame a creative discussion by taking the hats in different sequences. For example, you could start with the white hat. Ask people to discuss the evidence, the facts, what we know. Perhaps you could then ask them to wear a red hat and to discuss how we feel about those facts, that evidence. Then perhaps a green hat. What ideas does this conversation generate? This is the core creative part. And then a yellow hat. How can we build on those ideas? And then a black hat. What are the shortcomings of those ideas, the risks, the threats that they might impose? And then perhaps a red hat. How do we feel about that? And then a yellow hat. How can we adjust our ideas to take account of the threats and the risks and to build on them and to cycle through those different hats all the time? You as chair are wearing the blue hat, the hat that says, I'm in control, I'm thinking about the process of thinking. And my final approach is word association or picture association. Have a number of words or a number of pictures or some sort of stimulus and say, here are 6 words or here are 6 pictures. What do they conjure up when we're thinking about the problem we've got at hand? There are loads more creative thinking ideas out there. Most of them are designed for use by very small groups or by individuals, but you as a meeting facilitator, as a chair, can adapt them to your needs. Don't just default to the simple brainstorming, everyone shout out their ideas and I'll write them down. That can work magnificently well at times, but there are so many other options. And your job is to determine which is going to be best to get the results you want from the group you have. Please give us a thumbs up if you like this video. There's loads more great management courses content to come, so please subscribe to our channel and hit the bell so you don't miss any of it. I'll look forward to seeing you in the next video, and in the meantime, keep learning.